and welcome everyone. Thanks very much for coming along to the webinar today. My name's Nikki Chernявski and I'm from the climate change team at the Shire. So before we move on, I'd like to acknowledge and pay respects to the Bunurong people, the traditional custodians of these lands and waters. As you may well know, the Shire has partnered with the Australian Energy Foundation to offer the solar and energy bulk buy to our residents. And today's webinar is to provide you with an opportunity to find out more about the bulk buy, to answer questions, but specifically to look at some of the products that are available. So today's session is looking at the hot water heat pumps and reverse cycle air conditioners. So today's webinar will be presented by Andrew Redaway. He's the project manager at the Australian Energy Foundation. And also we have today here Ron Roper and Elaine Shine from RMS Heating and Cooling. So they'll be able to answer all of your specific questions about heat pumps and reverse cycle aircon. So if you have any questions during the presentation, can you please put those in the Q&A chat and we'll answer those as we go. You'll also note that the session is being recorded today too. So Andrew, I'll pass over to you for the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Nikki. That's great. I'd like to thank the Mornington Peninsula Shire for making this whole project and bulk buy possible. And I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands that we're all attending from. So the Australian Energy Foundation, so we've been around for 20 plus years now, and we're a not-for-profit organisation, and we do a whole heap of activities around advising consumers and implementing projects and on-the-ground action to get more renewable energy and energy efficiency to help with climate and also help vulnerable consumers. So for this bulk buy project, what we're trying to do is to help you with energy efficient products at a discounted price via trusted suppliers that we've vetted through the AEF. So the idea is to take out any concerns that Mornington Peninsula ratepayers might have with being lumped with sort of cowboys and doing a not so good job of the installation. More information is at that link at the bottom there, which we'll come back to. And we're focusing on 3 products: the solar, reverse cycle air conditioning, and heat pump hot water. For this webinar, because we're running a series of webinars, we're focusing on the aircons and the heat pump hot water. Okay, so what's included in the project? So we're providing the advice and the support and the starting point, the gateway into the program. We're overseeing and evaluating suppliers and also doing that planning function. The suppliers, such as RMS, who we have on the webinar today, they're doing the detailed quote and providing competitive pricing and obviously the high quality and the warranties. So the program's running until the end of June next year, and it's available to all ratepayers for the Shire. I think I forgot to do the poll. I might just mention that one. So yes, so in Victoria, it's usually heating and cooling, which uses the most energy. So water heating would be a second. So that's hot water for showers, etc. It does vary. Like there's a massive variety of different energy consumptions in different households. But yeah, usually heating and cooling would take up the most energy. So you may need to actually close that screen yourself to get rid of it off in front of the slides. Okay, so here's just an example of a quote. So the actual numbers may not be relevant, and in fact, RMS have managed to provide some even greater discounts than what we had even a week ago. So the main thing I wanted to highlight here is the fact that there are multiple levels of rebates which are available through this program and through the state government and federal initiatives as well. So there's a small technology certificate rebate, which everyone basically gets. The VEEC rebates are a Victorian thing, and they actually depend on if it's a hot water system, which is what we're looking at here. It depends on what was your old hot water system that's being replaced. The Solar Victoria rebate from the Victorian government, that has some eligibility requirements like income and property value, that type of thing. And then there's the bulk buy discount, which has no eligibility requirements apart from being a ratepayer in the Shire. Okay, here's another little piece of information that we'll soon be providing to households. It's a calculator that we'll have running on the AEF website. So this don't worry too much about the actual numbers on this chart here, because it's still we're still finalizing the development of it. But in the next week or two, we'll have this up to enable anyone to go in and just enter some basic information of how long the showers are, how many showers they have, what sort of rates they're paying for electricity and gas, and they'll be able to get a quick estimate of what would be the running cost of a hot water system using different technologies. That's a nice segue. So speaking of technologies, so we've already used the term heat pump a couple of times, so we should explain that. It's a way of moving energy around from one place to another, or moving heat, and we all have one already in our fridge. So if you think about the freezer section, the temperature in that cabinet is like 18 degrees below zero. So how does it actually manage to maintain that low temperature? The fridge has insulation in it, but there's always a bit of heat leaking in from the room into the freezer, and so that heat has to be extracted out to bring the temperature down. So the fridge has a heat pump, which is a piece of machinery in the fridge. And what that's doing is it's extracting heat out from the air inside the freezer. So even though it's already at minus 15 or minus 18 degrees, that still contains some heat, and because you only have no heat when you get to absolute zero temperature, which is like minus 270 or something. So it can extract heat out from that air and exhaust it out the back. So if you've ever put your hand down the back of the fridge, you'll probably notice that the air back there is a bit warmer than the rest of your kitchen, and that's because it's got that heat which is coming out of the freezer. So yeah, it's normal sort of technology that's been around for a very long time, but it's still quite amazing how it's possible if you think about it. All right, so how is it possible? Well, the best way I can come up to explain it is if you've ever held like a spray can, like insecticide or whatever, or deodorant, when you spray it, the top of the can tends to get cold, and that's just the thing that happens with physics. When that gas which was compressed in the can expands, the temperature goes down. And then you've got the opposite effect. If you've ever pumped up a bike tire with a bike pump, the end of the pump actually gets hot. You might think it's just from the friction of the piston moving inside, but it's actually from that gas getting compressed. And when you do that, it heats up. So those are the same technologies that, or the same, physical behaviors that are going on inside your fridge. The gas that's being released, it's not just allowed to escape out into your kitchen. It's all contained within the piping, but the gas is being allowed to expand, which is cooling down the fridge. It's absorbing heat out of the air inside your freezer, and then the gas is being moved to a different part of the machine, which has a compressor that's pumping it up. And that's why you've got heat escaping out the back of your fridge. All right, so let's talk about a heat pump for hot water. So the example we've got here is down on the bottom right. So it's a Reclaim Energy hot water system, which has a big water tank, and then beside it we have this heat pump unit, which is a very similar to the outdoor unit of a reverse cycle air conditioner that you'd be familiar with seeing down the side of people's homes. So what that's doing is the same as what's going on in your fridge. It's extracting heat out of air. In this case, it's extracting it from the air blowing down the side of your house, just the air that's out there in the environment. It's extracting heat out of that and putting the heat into the water inside the water tank. So why go to all that trouble of having this machine to do that? Well, you can see the answer in the chart here. So this is just, generic numbers I've put together, but an old style electric hot water system just works like a kettle. It's just got a heating element in it. And it's just converting your electrical energy directly into heat energy. And that uses a fair bit of energy to heat up the water. Gas has a gas burner at the bottom. So it's just got a flame going to heat up the water in the tank. That even uses a little bit more energy, actually, because some of the heat gets lost and escapes up the flue and out to the environment. So it's not 100% efficient. It's probably more like 85% efficient. But the heat pump uses way less energy because it's using electricity just to run the machinery. It's not converting the electricity directly into heat. So yeah, it's able to heat up the same amount of water to the same temperature with, say, a quarter as much electricity as what you would need for an old style electric tank. Now, if we talk about cost, then things change a little bit. Gas coming in through your gas meter per unit of energy is a bit cheaper than electricity. So the gas heater is normally a bit cheaper than your old style electric, unless you've got a really good electricity tariff, but it's not as cheap as running a heat pump. So yeah, once that calculator is up on our website, you'll be able to play around with those things a little bit more. But yeah, so in terms of running costs, heat pumps are the best. They do tend to cost a bit more up front, and we'll go through some of those pricings later on. Okay, air conditioners. So this is just a standard split system air conditioner. It's got a reverse cycle function as well, which means it can heat your room as well as cooling your room. So yeah, again, it's just a heat pump doing basically the same thing as what your fridge is doing. It's when it's running in heating mode, it's extracting heat out of the air down the side of your house and exhausting that heat into your room. So it's not actually blowing, it's not taking the outdoor air and blowing that air into your room. It's just sending the heat through the pipe that goes through your wall, using that refrigeration cycle. And you're just circulating the air inside your room, but it's adding that heat in. So if you've already got a fairly modern split system air conditioner, then yeah, it might be a good idea to try doing some of your heating during winter with that, rather than with, say, a ducted gas heating system, especially in those times when you only have one sort of living space that you really need to warm up. Yeah, I'd say give it a go and see what happens to your bills. It's going to use some electricity, so your electricity bill will go up a bit, but your gas bill should go down by even more. There's been a fair bit of research now that's looked into the different methods of heating, and yeah, reverse cycle split system air cons are the most economic and cleanest option now. I should mention solar as well. It's not really the focus of this webinar. We're looking more at the hot water and the air conditioners, but it's a big part of the overall bulk buy program. We'll focus on it more in other webinars, but just briefly. So if you don't have solar yet, then you'll have the poles and wires in your street. You'll have a smart meter which records how much electricity you're taking from the poles and wires, and bills you on it. You'll already have a switchboard in your house with those safety switches for the different circuits, and you'll have appliances. So if you're getting a solar system, then there's basically two parts you're adding on, which is the solar panels on the roof, and you're also adding an inverter on the wall. Unless you've got micro inverters where you have a little inverter under each panel instead. So when the sunlight hitting the panels, then you've got electricity going through the inverter, which turns it into the normal electricity that your house and the grid uses. And your appliances have the first call on that power as it's being generated. If there's any excess, then that excess power will go out to the grid, and it will earn you some money. Not a massive amount. The rate that you get for that excess power is less than what you're paying to the electricity retailer when you're importing electricity, but it actually does add up and has a fairly good contribution to the solar economics. So solar systems generally very economic, just as long as you've got a reasonably sunny roof and you're staying in your house for more than a handful of years, then generally solar is very much worth it to put on. And it also ties in with the hot water and the air conditioning as well, and because if you have solar on your roof, then and a heat pump hot water system, then you would typically have a timer so that your hot water system is running around the middle of the day. So it's pretty much running directly off your self-generated solar electricity. So that makes it very economic to run. The same thing with your reverse cycle air conditioning. If you've got a day that's reasonably cool but clear, so there is sun coming on your solar panels, then that would be enough to if you've got a normal size solar system, during the day, you'd be able to run most of your heating through a split system air conditioner, and it's the energy is pretty much coming from the sun. Again, very economical. Obviously, it doesn't work quite so well when you're heating at night time, or if it's a really dark, cloudy day. But yeah, on those clear days, it can be very effective. All right, I might pass over to Rod from RMS, and you've actually got a bit of extra time, Rod, because I've got through a little quicker than expected.
Okay, great. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Elaine and this is Rod from RMS Heating and Cooling. We're just here today to run through the products that we're going to be doing for the hot water heat pump system and the reverse cycle air conditioning systems. First, we'll jump into just a bit about RMS and the history of RMS. So our mission is to provide the highest level of customer service in the heating, cooling and hot water industry. RMS Heating and Cooling focuses on building our business towards meeting our customer needs at every level, which could range from a single room to a large-scale commercial project. So we can do everything. Our organizational goal is to provide our customers with quality, efficient, cost-effective solutions and excellence in customer service. With our extensive experience, we can understand what it takes to provide business excellence in the application, design and installation and all other aspects of heating, cooling and hot water. It is our aim to build our internal culture as a fluid, dynamic and positive environment for all our employees. We believe in fostering an innovative environment through a development of training and support, and we pride ourselves on energy efficient solutions for all types of budgets. We believe in a positive attitude. Caring and committed staff are essential character qualities required in our employees to ensure growth and longevity of our business. And we aim to be the market leader in all aspects of the industry and the largest in our field, providing cost benefit solutions to the end users. We've got over 25 years of outstanding service, and RMS can provide you with professional advice for heating, cooling and hot water systems. So next we'll look at some of our pricing of what we're doing for the hot water heat pump. So this is the Reclaim heat pump hot water system. And here we're showing some pricing for supply and installation. Now this pricing is after the rebates. So this is the final price. So as you can see here from, for example, at the beginning, the Reclaim 160 litre stainless steel, that's the price when we're replacing from electric storage. And that includes all the rebates. So the first item here is including the STC rebate, the VIX rebate, and the Solar Victoria rebate as well. If you're not eligible for the Solar Victoria rebate of the $1,000, then it's just the VIX and STC rebates. So you can see all the different size systems here and the different scenarios, whether we're replacing from gas or electric, because there's different rebates available when replacing gas or electric hot water systems.
And we'd just like to make a point that we have just readdressed the bulk buying price. We've negotiated very hard with our suppliers that we've put forward, and RMS have taken on bulk buys to offer this program the best pricing in the market.
So the pricing you're probably seeing on the AEF website, that will be updated in the next couple of days to reflect this pricing for supply and installation. So the Reclaim heat pump is one of the most energy efficient heat pumps there is on the market. It is Australian made and manufactured, and it's got the highest COP of 6.02 COP, which is one of the highest and most energy efficient heat pumps available on the market. It's also the quietest system on the market and has an average annual savings of up to 80%. Making it the most energy efficient system. The running costs are less than $1 a day, $1 a day, or virtually nothing if you've already got solar electricity installed at your properties. The next one is the Rinnai heat pumps. If we could move that slide, Andrew. Or do we have the Rinnai heat pump systems there?
No, I didn't get any slide for the Rinnai one, sorry.
Oh, okay. So we've also got similar, and the Rinnai heat pump system is also an energy efficient heat pump system. The Reclaim comes with a 15-year warranty. The Rinnai comes with a 5-year warranty, and that's reflective in their price. The starting off price for a 250 litre Rinnai after the rebates is around 1,150. So they're very economical to install and economical to run as well.
And one thing with the Rinnai, I do like to point out to everyone, they are made locally in Brayside, and we like to support the Rinnai product because they are made locally, they're manufactured locally, and they are 100% Australian made. And in these times, it probably is good to get around a local manufacturer supporting their green initiatives into the market.
Next, we'll run through, and we'll come back to Q&As on these products as well, that we can address them for you. And next is our split system. So we're doing the two best split systems on the market, which is the Dakin. Dakin is always, I refer to as the Rolls Royce of all split system. It's the quietest system on the market and most energy efficient systems on the market as well. So you can see some pricing there. That's our supplied and installed pricing as well. It doesn't include any rebates if anyone's eligible for any rebates on split systems. There is one from the government at the moment, the heating and cooling upgrades program, if you're a concession card holder. But these are some pricing for supply and installation for the Dakin and the Rinnai, and also their energy efficiency, the star rating as well.
Was there anything else that you'd like to add from an RMS point of view, Elaine and Rod?
Yeah, and just so that anyone that has got any questions or queries, we do offer part of the service to this package is a qualified technician that will come to your site, run you through all your best options available, and offer you the most efficient package to suit anyone's budget.
So once lockdown's over, unless it's an emergency, we can come to your home for a consultation to have a look at the design, the installation conditions, and then give you some pricing and options. And that's, of course, obligation free.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. So I might just run through the key takeaways before we get into questions and answers. So the key messages, I think, are hot water. It's important to actually have a plan, because people often only think about their hot water when their shower starts running cold and they go down the side of their house and notice there's a leak of hot water coming out of their tank running down the garden. If you leave it to that stage, then you're probably going to make a pretty quick decision, and you may not consider all your options. So it's better to have a plan, even if you think you might have a bit of life in your old hot water system left. All electric homes are another thing to consider. So if you're not using gas for your hot water, instead, if you used a hot water heat pump, if you're using reverse cycle aircon for your space heating, then the only appliance left that you'd be using gas would be maybe your cooktop in your kitchen. And at that stage, an induction cooktop becomes almost a no-brainer, because they're great to use, much better than the old style resistive electric cooktops, and it would enable you to totally eliminate your gas bill, including the daily supply charge, which is often around $1 a day. So if you think over the 10 years of a sort of appliance lifespan, then that supply charge could be costing you a few $1,000s. So that goes a long way to offsetting some of the costs of the electric appliances. Solar is a good thing to think about, and yeah, we've got those all the details on our website there that you can get stuck into. And just noting, as Elaine and Rod said, that some of the pricing on the heat pumps is actually now even better than what's up on our website. We'll have that updated in the next couple of days. All right, so let's go over to questions then. We've got quite a few. So just looking at the open question section. There's one about the new heat pump hot water systems that are available for $0 or or close to zero. I might throw that one over to Rod and Elaine, if that's okay, to comment on those sorts of deals that people might see out there.
Yeah, there is some a product coming in that is directly imported, and basically why we haven't really selected these in the marketplace at the moment. We, as you probably know, when you purchase something and we want to provide you with something, we want a quality product, has an extensive warranty period, and basically that when we walk away from the installation, that the system will run correctly for a long period of time. What can I say? It's an inferior product to the selection that we've put forward.
So they don't have the high COP on those other brands, especially the ones that are being offered at the moment on Facebook and other social media platforms for $0. They don't have a high COP. Their warranties are not as long, and the materials are all from overseas.
So, yeah, and we find that sometimes the grade of materials they use, especially if you're down the coast or Peninsula way too, they tend to be they corrode a lot more easily. So we go with the premium products that we know that are going to be around and provide the consumer with an excellent energy efficiency solution, but on top of that, a stable system and long longevity of the installation. They won't be on hard rubbish in 2-3 years. Yes.
Great, thank you for that. Yeah, I might just add that another thing to look at would be the noise. Some heat pumps can, if you have it outside a bedroom window, then it could be a little annoying, the noise level, but yeah, with something like the Reclaim Energy, that's not an issue at all. All right, there's a good question here. If you're considering getting solar, is it better to get solar prior to heat pump, or it doesn't matter? Well, I guess it's a budgeting question sometimes. People often don't have the funds available at one point in time to do everything that they want to do. I'd say with hot water, the timing is normally around the lifespan of your old hot water tank. So if that's if you think it's near the end of its life, then that might be the time to do the heat pump. Otherwise, yeah, you maybe hold off on the hot water and go and do the solar, because it's actually a really good time to put solar on at the moment. The products are quite mature compared to what they might have been, say, 10 years ago. The industry's come a long way. Yeah, the rebates that are available are really attractive. There's the Solar Victoria rebates available at the moment. And yeah, there's also those STC rebates, which are slowly phasing out year by year. So yeah, I'd certainly look at solar, but I don't know if Rod or Elaine, you have any other comments on timing of when you might go for heat pumps?
I think you've covered off most things there, but the main point you made was looking at the rebates. If you're considering solar, you may want to consider that for solar electricity because of the amount of rebates from Solar Victoria. When you're applying for these rebates, they'll only let you have one or the other. So they'll let you have it for solar electricity or for solar hot water. They won't let you have it twice. So the rebate for solar electricity is a lot higher than it is for the $1,000 for the solar hot water heat pump. So if you're seriously considering solar electricity, definitely go for that rebate from Solar Victoria rather than for the heat pump hot water system. But it just means once you get solar installed and then you have the heat pump installed, that's virtually going to be running for you for free off your solar panels.
Yeah, very good point. Thank you. We've got a question here about energy efficiency changes that are done as part of a building renovation. How do you avoid the builder and architect surcharges. Well, if we're talking about hot water and air conditioners, that doesn't have to be done as through the builder. You could organise that yourself, direct with a with a company such as RMS. But what would your advice be there, Elaine and Rod?
Okay.
Through our experience, people that are doing a build will normally negotiate with the builder to use their own heating and cooling company and hot water company. So yeah, exactly what you said is basically it's open to the consumer to get their quotations and actually get the product that they want, not what the builder just wants to put in. So I definitely suggest, yeah, contacting a company like RMS if you're doing a build and avoid those surcharges.
Yeah, and if you're dealing directly with the company that's supplying, installing, you've got more chance of getting a good quality job, I would think, because you can have a direct direct feedback and make sure they understand what you want, like where it's going to be installed and how it's going to be installed, all that sort of thing, which is probably harder if you've got that builder sort of in the middle. Okay. I have a question. Do you have any info on the bulk buy of solar panels? Yes, I'd probably direct you to the website. So all the information is there. Brands and prices and all that stuff. Or you can put a call into AEF and we can help you out with that information. We'll also have a webinar next month to go through all that in more detail. Okay, lifespan you'd expect from a heat pump system. That's a good one. Rod and Elaine, would you like to talk about the lifespan of these products?
These products would be looking a minimum of 10 years. And just one thing is I suggest is do get it serviced at least once every 3 years for the anode that protects any corrosion on your tank. And just as I said, like anything you buy, purchase it. If you do carry out the maintenance on it, you will get a prolonged period out of the appliance. Yeah, 10 years would be your minimum you'd be looking at.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned the anode there. I might just give a bit more detail on that one. So you've got a water tank. Depending on what it's made of, whether it's stainless steel or if it's the glass line tank, the stainless steel ones normally don't need an anode inside, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And we have another question there, which is is a stainless steel tank necessary on the Peninsula? What would you think for that?
I'd recommend the stainless steel on the Peninsula, yes. We find the only time we really want to go away from a stainless steel is normally you get rural conditions. If you're on bore water and it's mineral, that can cause troubles to the stainless tank. But normally if you've got a clean water supply, we would definitely suggest stainless. Yeah,
I'd agree with that as well. So with the glass line tank, basically the glass lining is not perfect, so that's why they need to have this anode placed in the water as well. What the anode is a sacrificial anode, so it's a material that's designed to dissolve away. If there's going to be any corrosion happening, then it's not going to happen in the structure of the tank. It'll just be happening in that anode instead. And but it's a part that as Rod was saying, that's a maintenance thing that needs to be remembered, and every few years get someone to check the anode and replace it with a new one. So yeah, I think most of us have enough things to try and remember already without one extra thing to add onto that list.
Plus, you'll also get a longer warranty on the stainless steel. So you get a 15-year warranty on the stainless steel tanks, and then a 10-year warranty on the glass line tanks.
Yeah, great. Reclaim, made in Australia. I think the compressor unit's not, but the tank.
The tank is made in Australia.
That's right. The compressors from Japan.
Yeah, it's an example of only 2 products on the market that use the most efficient refrigerant gas and come from Japan. And yeah, they're really widely recognised as being a class above other heat pump hot water systems.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, and we have a question about the payback period, good for residents who are 70 years or older. Well, payback period on the hot water is an interesting one. One thing that really depends on is how much water are you using, and because if you've got just one person at home having 1 shower per day, short shower, like 4 or 5 minute shower with a low flow shower head, then that's really not using that much hot water per day. And so it's not using that much energy to heat it up. And the impact on your energy bill from your showers is not going to be very big. At the other extreme, you can have a big family with teenagers that are playing sport and they're having multiple showers per day. They've got long hairs, they're having long showers, high flow shower head. So in that case, a family like that might be using, 10 or 20 times as much hot water as that frugal individual, right? So I'd recommend having a look at the calculator that we'll have up on our website in a week or 2, and that'll give you a good idea of the running costs and based on your showering habits. Hot water is used for other things apart from showers, but these days mostly most of the dishwashers and washing machines heat their own water internally. So they're just taking cold water from the mains, and then they've got their own heater. So the main other thing that you might use hot water for is if you're hand washing dishes in the sink, or a bit of hand washing, which is pretty minor usually compared to showers. It's normally showers which is really driving the hot water consumption. So what we often see is that if you are only having 1 short shower with a low flow shower head per day, then you have to be careful about over capitalizing on your hot water system. So yeah, you'd want to look at that carefully. But if you're a family that's having multiple showers, relatively moderate to high amounts of hot water being used in each shower, then yeah, the payback period's not too bad with a hot water system. Especially if it's in the context of eliminating your gas bill entirely. That's when the payback gets really good for hot water and for gas cooktops. Heating and cooling. So split system reverse cycle air conditioners. If you need to replace your heating anyway, like if you've got an old ducted gas heating system that's wearing out, then and you maybe have to, the alternative is to get maybe a few split system air conditioners on top of one you might already have in your living room, for example. Then yeah, the payback can work out pretty good. So maybe, yeah, I'd say less than 10 years normally, but it depends on everyone's situation. Okay, got an interesting one here. Is it worth venting cold air from the heat pump on hot water system into the house for summer cooling? Have you ever heard of that being done, Rod and Elaine?
Yeah, I haven't heard it being done, but I'd probably be cautious doing that because the fan speed and the coil are cross matched for airflow and pascals. And if you do run duct in, you might introduce some backflow pressure into the system, and you could actually, compressor could overheat. It does need a certain amount of flow. So I would err a caution of doing that. But it would be good cogen, but I probably wouldn't do it if it's not designed for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I've heard of cases where someone had a heat pump hot water system installed in a garage, and yeah, because it's extracting heat out of the air, it ends up like refrigerating the air in the garage.
Yeah.
You end up with a very cold garage, and eventually the heat pump struggles to work. So yeah, you do have to have a good sort of airflow for them. Does the compressor keep running all the time or until a certain temperature? Yeah, it's like any hot water system. It's got a thermostat in it. So the hot water heater, it's only going to turn on when that thermostat drops below a certain temperature. So your hot water in your tank's normally around 60 degrees. It'll be hot at the top and then sort of cold at the bottom. So when that thermostat measures that you need to start heating up the water, then that's when it'll turn on, and the compressor will kick in. That fan that Rod was talking about will start spinning. But they're often run on a timer as well. So only if the thermostat says the water's cool, and if the timer says it's the right time to run it. So if you've got solar, then you'd probably run it around the middle of the day. If you don't have solar, then you can get a electricity plan that's cheaper overnight, and you could run the hot water overnight. That's the other usual way to do it. Any other comments on that one, guys? All right. So does a stainless steel tank still need a service every 3 years?
Yes, it will need a service. Stainless steel or glass line, they should always be serviced.
They have running components, heat pump, coil, check the condition, the pressures, the temperature drop. They have an EX valve. So there are things that do need checking, but I'd suggest every 3 years, or in between. If it's not 3 years and you find that the system isn't performing, always just get a professional to come out and check.
Yeah, thanks for that. We're not getting many questions about the reverse cycle air conditioners, but I guess that's because people are pretty familiar with air conditioners for the use of cooling, which is what most people in mainland Australia have purchased them for, is for cooling in summer. It's interesting though, in Tasmania and in New Zealand, they don't call them air conditioners, they call them heat pumps. Because that's the main purpose they're purchased for is for heating rather than cooling. So yeah, they're a bit ahead of us on that sort of learnings, I guess. Solar Vic rebate criteria includes a property value under $3 million that knocks out all farms. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure if that's what the bureaucrats in Victorian government were intending to do, but yeah, I think you're probably right. If you're on a farm, that's it's going to be an issue. That's only one of the rebates, though, as we've mentioned. There are the other rebate components, and then the bulk buy discount as well. All right, I think we've answered most of those. I haven't been looking at the chat though. Drew, is that something I should be looking at, or is the chat sort of under control there?
Yeah, the chat's all good.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I think we're pretty much done, unless there's any last questions or any last comments from Nikki or Rod or Elaine.
No, I've got nothing extra, Andrew. Sorry, my video hasn't come off, but yeah, no, all good from me.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank the Mornington Peninsula Shire again for making the whole initiative possible. And yeah, have a look at our website for the upcoming events and that calculator that we mentioned, and all the details of the bulk buy products. So thanks everyone for coming along, and yeah, hope to be in touch at some point. Thank you.